The Intergalactic Council's great room was filled with a constant hum, a low symphony of alien languages as delegates from all around the galaxy engaged in overlapping debates. Towering Yorks, with chameleonic hues that changed, crystalline exoskeletons, and numerous others, were bent over luminous datapads, their discussions fluctuating like tidal currents. The counselors were silenced by a piercing, echoing chime. Boom! The voice of the prime monitor of the assembly echoed, revealing a tall figure wearing glistening robes of iridescent threads. Birth had stopped talking. Earth was originally a minor player in galactic politics, but the remarks caused a stir in the crowd, with mutterings bubbling like boiling water. Over the past century, politics' inventiveness had shown itself to be important. Numerous situations had been turned upside down by resourcefulness and unwavering fortitude. Captain Elaine Amer sat rigidly in her seat, her dark eyes narrowing at the sight of it before it vanished. She had long since left Earth behind, but the reference to its silence in the Prime Monitor's hologram left a lasting impression of its expansive cities, colorful turmoil, and the acrid bitterness of her departure. "This is a human issue," she whispered beneath her breath. She was drawn to the counselor by a YX when she heard a crystalline chime on her left. In an odd turn of events, an emissary, whose changing skin mirrored the council's mounting uneasiness, leaned toward her. "Captain." His comments were slick and poisonous, possibly the most renowned in human history. "Perhaps you'll keep your conjectures to yourself until the facts are known, Elena, or perhaps ingenuity has finally betrayed them." The Prime Monitor continued to ignore her as she snapped back with a steady, sharp voice. "There are no energy spikes, transmissions, or gravitational abnormalities. All evidence points to Earth's disappearance, yet its mass is still present," she said, looking to Captain Merk, the only person now serving this council. "You will be in charge of the investigation." Elena felt sick to her stomach, but she made herself nod in agreement with the Prime Monitor. "As soon as the expedition ship Resolute hangs in orbit like a sentinel, I'll put together a team." The trip had been quick, but the atmosphere in Earth's solar system was tight. Unspoken fear filled the command deck as the ship came into view. Caro, the ship's AI, spoke with a hint of artificial warmth. Elena moved to the glass, gasping as Earth came into focus. Pristine, with its waters shimmering in the sun's radiance and clouds whirling in mesmerizing patterns. Yet, the orbit was once crowded with satellites and spacecraft. Now, the pathways were deserted. "There is no traffic, no glittering coma. Still, no answer," Caro observed. "All common frequencies are silent." Standing behind her, the crew looked at one another uneasily. The silence was broken by Arthon, his translucent skin refracting dim light as he spoke. "This could be a trap. We should think about a more cautious approach." Elena curtly responded, keeping her eyes fixed on Earth. "But we're here to search for answers, not retreat into paranoia." The scan results showed no disturbances, but Caro's console displayed faint energy signatures concentrated near terrestrial urban centers. "Like an echo of something," Caro clarified. "Closer. Almost residual," Elena murmured, her hands clenched in anticipation. "Prepare the shuttle." The landing was seamless, but the surface atmosphere felt unsteady. Skyscrapers in the city of frozen time extended their glass facades toward a clear sky, reflecting an artificial stillness. Cars were parked or lined up in the middle of turns, yet there were no drivers. Restaurants were set up for meals that would never be consumed. It was eerie, like an exhibit in a museum called Untouched by Decay. "New York City," Elena whispered, recognizing the skyline. Her voice quivered, but she immediately covered it up. "It seems like they just disappeared," Falcf said, his voice tinged with uneasiness. Caro's drone flew close by, scanning for localized irregularities. "Time here doesn't flow consistently," Elena scowled. It's like some regions have temporal lag. The team pursued a flickering holographic message, discovering its source in a nearby alley. This is Dr. Irin, a man's face appeared. Against a crumbling brick wall, his expression a mixture of terror and desperation. If this is visible to you, he began, it means we've failed. Elena's heart raced. The words pierced her calm. The resonance field, Phala whispered, searching for a replacement, but static interrupted the transmission. The resonance field was intended to unite human minds into a collective consciousness, Dr. Iron's voice continued. But it didn't align our thoughts. Instead, it intensified them. Elena's chest tightened. They're not gone, she said firmly. They're somewhere else. Phala turned to face her, puzzled. What are you saying? The city, though seemingly abandoned, felt alive with the hum of something unseen. Elena's voice cut through the silence. Prepare to dig deeper. I want answers. As the team ventured. Further underground, the atmosphere grew colder. Caro's drone hovered in front of them, scanning the area. We've located high energy levels below ground, Caro said. The group proceeded, finding a vast room filled with pulsing lights from enormous crystals protruding from the ceiling and floor. At the center, a monolithic console stood, and, as they approached, a hologram flickered to life. I am Dr. Oren Suarez, the hologram began, her tone both sorrowful and authoritative. Humanity's greatest experiment has failed. The team listened in grim silence as Dr. Suarez continued explaining that the resonance field had replaced the corporeal forms of humanity with a quantum state, leaving them imprisoned in a liminal void. Elena's temper flared, but she quickly controlled it. We didn't come here to debate. We came here to find a way to bring them back. The hologram flickered again. There is no easy way. The resonance field may require a sacrifice to stabilize it. The revelation hit hard. Elena's voice was steady, but her resolve was clear. We'll find another way. We won't sacrifice anyone. Caro's drone beeped sharply. Energy levels are rapidly increasing. The field is unstable. As the resonance field hummed louder, the faces of the trapped humanity appeared within the crystalline structures, their expressions frozen in agony. Elena moved toward the console, her jaw clenched. Caro, get ready. We're bringing them home. The hum intensified as the team braced for what was to come. The interface starts, and the system might try to integrate me, but I'm ready. However, I estimate that I have an 87% chance of not surviving intact because of Elena's throat. Tighter, but her will remained unwavering. We'll figure out a way. To get you back, too. We've come this far, Caro, and I won't let you go now. Fell mumbled behind her. His irritation was audible, and he turned suddenly to ask the Zeon technician if there was another way. Our CSED machine uses either synthetic or biological dren to disable this without gambling. He looked up, and if there is, I can't see. His normally composed manner broke under the strain of the circumstance. This system is living and breathing, changing to fit us as we speak. This isn't a fight, but Elena cut in precisely. Her gaze focused on the luminous monolith at the chamber's center. Must outsmart the crystalline structures in order to prevail by brute force. It seemed to be listening to Elena, emitting a soft, melodious hum. The monolith surface shimmered as she moved forward, her boots crunching on the metal floor, changing into a variety of symbols that changed too fast to interpret. It felt dynamic and reactive, like a... Elena whispered under her breath. What are you? As the predator assessed its prey. She wasn't anticipating a response, but the console brightened, as though Caro's drone acknowledged. Alongside her captain, I have created a little holographic interface. Link with the system. It is reacting to the questions that the children asked. His Carol's voice was tinted with dread. It acknowledges us as alien beings. It is trying to categorize our close friend as an enemy or to incite... Fowls hissing. What type of beast did the translucent exoskeleton that shimmered with anxiety fuel? Captain Murk. Elena didn't respond. Her eyes stayed fixed on your people's creation. The faces caught in the crystals on the console were now flickering. Faster, their features twisted in silence. Suffering. Whatever it was that humanity had unleashed, it was certain that it had forgotten its... Caro's drone's makers activated the interface with a pulsing light that burst from a low chime. Elena's vision became blurry due to the console that surrounded the room. Overtaken by a barrage of visuals and noises, including human voices, laughter, screams, and whispers, all of which blended into a clamor. For a minute she felt like... Elena Caro's words sounded as though she were hovering inside the machine's shattered consciousness. Because of the storm's anchoring, the system is disjointed and spans many. I can stabilize the shattered layers of quantum reality and its fundamental consciousness. But I will require direct input from you to direct the procedure, she inquired in a steady voice. What sort of input? Caro hesitated once again, seemingly reluctantly, despite the storm roaring in her mind. The system was designed to burden her with the facts about human feeling and memories. Created with the intention of harmonizing collective thought, however, it requires a baseline in order to operate. The light in the room had somewhat dimmed, and Elena's teen storm of visions was fading. As she approached the console, she noticed a sudden, deep quiet. Her hand trembled as she reached for the shimmering surface. The faces inside the crystals were still staring at her, seemingly begging for Elena. Dren's voice was stern, yet quiet, saying, "You don't have to do this. We'll save you." "There isn't another way, so find another one," she said in a tone. She put her palm on the console,